Hello everyone, my name is Josh Kinney and today we'll be discussing closures. Now from my experience, a new developer will get in here and they will learn their variables and learn the difference in their loops and their if-else statements and learn their functions, and they're doing really good. And then they come to these awesome closures. And that's where it starts getting really difficult or confusing, and where some developers jump off or some kind of skip over this part altogether. So what I'm going to do in this video is just go over the basics to kind of get your toes wet per se, and you can go and kind of do a deeper dive later once you start understanding this. So let's look at a basic closure here. So let's say var people equal, and then you want to do your brackets like you do in your functions right here, and inside there we'll just do a simple print statement, and we'll say all the people in the world are wonderful. Okay, so whenever we go ahead and call this right here, we'll do the people here and then your parentheses call, and you'll see down here it prints exactly what we want. So we're just storing some functionality into this variable here, and then we're able to access that at a different point normally in your code or in your app. But you can also do a lot more things inside of these closures or with these closures. Let's look at how to accept an actual parameter and what that looks like. So I already have one sitting here, and I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste to save some time on the typing. And you'll see, so we're going to let run to equal, just like we did up there. Then you're going to do your brackets, but inside these brackets you're going to see inside the parentheses we have a place, and it's of type string. Now so you have to do one word for the actual variable name. Now in functions, if you remember, you had an inner and an outer label that you can name. Well, right now you cannot. So let's just say name it in place. If we try to name two, so one for the internal side and one for the external, or I say in and out, you can't do that in a closure. You'll get an error. You can only have one word. So we're going to name it place, and then you must put an in. So for this place of type string in, and now you got to tell it what to do. We're just going to do another print statement, but inside here we're going to pass this parameter into here. So whatever place we set it, it's going to go in here. So it's going to say we ran to whatever place it is. Okay, so let's look at that. So we're going to say run to, and then you're going to see is a type string here, but we're going to go ahead and fill that out. And let's just say Paris. And you'll see we ran to Paris. That's exactly what we were wanting to see. So we can, just like functions, pass a parameter into this and actually call it. The main thing to get out of this is you need to make sure you have the in there, and then also you can only have one label. You can't have the internal and external labels like you can in the function. Keep that in mind. Now let's look at how to return the actual value from the closure. And I want to take a second to let you know, if you didn't watch my video or a video on functions within Swift, I highly recommend you do that first. I will post my functions link at the bottom of this at the end, so you can go back and watch that, because that kind of goes over, returning values and actually passing the parameters and things like that, so you get comfortable with those things first, and then with closures, at least the lingo and things should start making more sense, so you can focus on what's actually going on now that you know what, passing parameters and inner and outer, or internal and external labels, like what exactly is being said or talked about. You'll have a better understanding. Anyways, let's carry on. Returning values from a closure is, and again, I'm going to do the same thing. So we're going to have another closure, which looks like this. And how this works is you're going to do the same exact thing. So you're going to name it a let. Here, or you're going to set it as a let. You're going to name it we ran to. The reason why I said we ran to is because I already used run to, and you have to have different names in these playgrounds or you'll get errors. You can't have two of the same names. The curly brackets, you do the same thing there. Then we're going to do a place exactly like we did up here, except we're going to return a string That's the only difference here. So that is going to make us have this return keyword here in our closure. So return string in, and now we're returning it. So we ran to whatever place. So we're passing a value and we're returning it here. So now let's look at this. If I did print, and inside of here I said we ran to, and then actually do a string here, and let's just name it America. So we ran to America. Let's see if it prints. And it does. So you can actually, instead of just doing a print statement there, you can make your actual closure have a return type or a return statement in there. So that's pretty powerful as well. Let's move on to actually passing closures as parameters. Okay, so again, I'm going to show you a basic closure, which we've already seen. And in this case, this is going to be I ran to, and it's just going to do exactly like we did in the very beginning up here. We're just going to print an actual string. I ran to the country. Okay, now inside of this actual function, because that's what we're going to do, we're passing a closure as the parameter into the function. Okay, so I have a basic function here as well. I'll copy that over and I'll explain it. Function called running tracker. So basically what I'm just trying to show you is this is a running tracker. Every time I run, I'm going to add a new run to this. Okay, so it's going to be called new run. It's going to take in nothing, and it's going to return a void, which means I don't have to have a return down here. That's what void is. Now later on, you can actually look up, you can return whatever you want. So you can set this a type string, and you can return a string, or an integer, or whatever you'd like. But in this case, we're not going to do that because we're trying to keep it as simple as possible, just so you're getting the understanding. So we're returning nothing. And as you can see all the way up here, we're getting the same thing. It's an empty parenthesis. That's what we're saying here. Return nothing as void and put nothing in here. Okay, so the first thing it's going to do is going to print I ran to Mars. Then it's going to print I ran to the bottom of the ocean. And then the next thing, we wanted to pass this closure into it and print I ran to the country. And how you do that is you just do the new run, which is what you set right there with your parentheses, and then you call it here. So in the actual function running tracker, you see the new run, and all you do in the new run is actually pass I ran to. And you'll see this here. So I ran to Mars, I ran to the bottom of the ocean, I ran to the country. Great. All right, so that's going to do it for closures and this video. If you liked it, please subscribe because this helps me get my channel out to others. And if you have questions, feel free to leave a comment like always. Again, I will post my function video in there so you can go take a look at that to get more familiar if you haven't yet. Thanks.